Drinking is injurious too.
Dude, we know. You know this. Shut up and drink in moderation. Don't be a dickhead. If you're still gonna be an asshole and drink too much, that's a you problem. We warned you. It's been your boy Sickma. Now please go ahead and enjoy the video.
First things first, recipe sucker fed. Recipe sucker fed. For real, for real. You the only father that avenue. These that I made way back in the fair. Fitness and even back when we was broke my team ill. Broke my team ill. Broke my team. Martin Luther King would have been on Dreamville. Talk to me.
What's up, people? It's your boy Sickma in the house. We're back with yet another episode. Been seeing a lot of your comments, been getting a lot of love since the last Brocode episode. That did pretty well for us. We gotta give it.
It's still not out though. The entire episode is supposed to come out tomorrow.
It's supposed to come out tomorrow. But I think by the time this episode is out, I think Brocos will be out already.
Yes.
So that was one hell of a collab. And coming with us today, we've got Rishi, the man himself, who's going to be accompanying us with this podcast because we've got a lot of fun-filled interactions to do. Rishi just came in from Ahmedabad about 2-3 days back.
It's been like 5-6 days.
It's been 5-6 days. The 2 days he went out with his family, so it kind of counts like 2-3 days or whatever. But bottom line, we have a couple of agendas today. Rishi will be giving his opinions as well on it. And I found it kind of interesting to actually speak about this because there are a lot of unnoticeable problems happening within Bangalore, right? Mainly speaking of car accidents. I've had a lot of friends who have passed away due to car accidents, bike accidents, people, super talented, smart friends of mine. And I think it's an issue that we wanted to put out as such.
Not just in Bangalore, I think across India it's been happening right now. With the entire Pune case that just happened. So it's been happening all over India with wherever there is. Because that's what we're speaking about, driving in India. And that's what we're going to share about our own personal experiences, our first accidents, and what are the rules to actually drive in India. And is it strict enough for people to follow that?
It's strict enough or we just don't have enough authorities. Like only time can tell because India has a heavy population with a lot of menace around the country. Yeah. But bringing to my attention, I wasn't very clear on it, so I'm hoping you guys could like fill me in on the news. I heard there was a Porsche accident, and from what I've been hearing, at least the major headlines, it's that Bade Baap ke bete who was driving the Porsche around. So like what was this whole issue that was going on around?
So to put it across for our viewers in simple terms, it was a 17-year-old guy, and not even a guy, he's a kid, he's not even 18 yet, and he has a driving license somehow apparently, and he's drunk driving a Porsche, which is his dad's car apparently. He's a son of a very big billionaire if I'm not wrong, and his name is Vedant Agarwal.
Sickma people, I'm Sickma.
Yeah, his name is Vedant Agarwal, and he was apparently drunk driving, and he crashed onto like the people on bikes and they died on spot. And the worst part is that he got a bail within 15 hours. Now legally, Ved's not here, but I know this much that legally anyone below 18 is treated as a juvenile. But then he has a car, he has a driving license which he's not supposed to get at that age, and he's been drinking, and there's like clear CCTV evidence of him drinking in a bar and then going out later and crashing into these people. When the locals at the spot found out, they like immediately got him out and like slapped him around, beat him up and all of that. And then he was arrested. And here's the bizarre thing, okay? Here's a irony about our courts in India, okay? They left him within 15 hours, he got a bail, and his only thing he had to do was write an essay about punishment or something like that.
Some essay in this community.
I mean, in a country where a sitting chief minister gets a bail for 15 days only for campaigning. Okay, this kid which has genuinely done something and he's still not got any punishment. I mean, it's ironical. I don't know what to say about it.
He's only got like 15 hours of he's supposed to help the cops out. Like that's what the news article said. That's his punishment. That's no punishment, bro. I can do this like all day. I can help the cops.
And here's the thing: if the justification is that he's below 18 and that's why you're easy on him, there are still jails specifically for people below 18,
that's
like kids below 18.
What do they call it?
Juveniles.
Yeah.
You still got to send him there. Although he's doing everything which is above 18, but okay, sure, if that's the way you want to go about it, at least do that. He's got a bail within 15 hours, and the latest update today morning was that his father has got arrested.
From what
apparently by
I
the
heard,
cops.
he's along with community service and the fact that he has to write an essay, he's getting counseling, right? Now, this is not Indian parent behavior. If I would have done something like this, my parents would have slapped me right across my face.
It's not
And
Indian
that's
parent
what-
behavior, it's just billionaire parents' behavior. That's it. Nothing else.
I mean, this just comes to prove all over again that if you're rich, you can most certainly get away with most and anything and everything in certain cases. And it's not the first cases, right? Because growing up in college, I'm not going to lie, okay? And definitely none of us are going to like sit here and like agree to the fact that we haven't seen this stuff among our friends. We've always had that one rich kid in school or college growing up who has gotten into some serious trouble, right? So do we have any such stories like that? We don't need to take names. Okay, let's keep names out of it. But again, what were these instances? And let's like actually tell our viewers how common this is. Because all of a sudden, just because it's a Porsche that went crashing around, I don't think it's the first and last news that's going to be coming out like this.
Yeah, so
So is
see,
there anything that any such incident that comes to your mind when you think of such cases? Immediately.
so many, I think, so the first time that we started like really want to drive and all that, it was during lockdown. That's when I like learned driving. I had on my own scooter and all that. But Indian parents and lockdown and all that shit, they wouldn't allow, and then even you will feel hesitant to get it out and all that would be there. But the first ever accident that actually happened was during probably after the first wave of lockdown, where we were going for a drive, and somehow I agreed to get my scooter. Okay, it's an Access 125, not capable for long drives. And we got it, and while coming back, I'm like, I'll drive. And Rishi, who'll come later, the next 20 minutes, he was behind me, and we're driving peacefully, and all of a sudden, a random stone comes in the middle of nowhere. Empty road. We're driving probably at around, I don't know, 60 or something. It's a turn and then straight road, khali road. There's no much vehicles and all of that. And we're just driving, a stone comes. So I just go towards my left.
Was this the same accident which you showed up to one of our podcasts with a wrap around your
That is
hand?
different.
That's a different one.
that was
But
a-
watch episode number 2, guys, to know
Yeah.
more about with its previous accident. Continue.
So I just go left and there's mud. So the scooter totally skid. Now I have fallen towards my left side. Okay. We were all wearing helmets and also that much we were responsible. Okay. We were wearing helmets and everything. Hrisheek, who was sitting behind me, has flipped over me and gone ahead. So I have fallen left and this guy has gone.
Shout out to Rishi, guys, for being behind this camera right now
Yeah.
and still alive and kicking.
And and he's just gone flipped up and gone ahead. Luckily, just lucky enough, it was the day of Diwali. I still remember. That's why I really believe in God. Okay, nothing happened to me. It was just few scratches on my hand. Hrisheek, not even a single scratch or anything. And as I said, we were responsible in wearing helmets at least, so that way at least we were saved. Okay, and the worst part is we fall and we see one guy in bike going. Some random uncle. Okay, he's just going. He's just looking at us. And he just fucks off. Okay, like there's no help, nothing. Okay, and then finally Anurag comes in from behind and all of that. And other two friends of ours, Dhanush and Ajit, they come and then they pick us up. My entire scooter was of course gone. Somehow I took it to my apartment, parked it in my parking, didn't say anything for 2 days. Then somehow arranged cash and all that, got it serviced. So that was a proper legit accident that happened. And yeah, luckily nothing happened to us.
Touch wood. And also, guys, the lesson you got to take out of this is when you don't wear a helmet, it's not the fact that you're a bad driver or nobody trusts you with your driving. It's that we don't trust the Indian roads, right? Politicians always have a reason to dig potholes every now and then, but you got to wear that helmet to like save this life, because in this case, anything could have gone
Exactly,
south side. But Rishi, do you have any such instance that comes to your mind first when you think of such bizarre accidents? It could have happened with you, with a friend, or there would be some highlight of the whole story.
Why do I think it would have happened between you two?
So we'll get there also. But sure.
Nothing comes to mind. I think like I do remember one of my seniors in my college. He got into a bad accident, and what happened was that he was going down from a flyover, and there was this auto on the left side was trying to overtake him. He wasn't letting it overtake him. Finally, it was on the side of the car, like we were going parallel at like 70, 80. God knows what the auto was going that fast. And suddenly this guy saw a pothole, so he saw a little to the left, and the auto flipped over. It fell out of the flyover, like at 20 feet in the air.
Shit.
Everyone died.
And how does it just intend to happen? Like just falling off a flyover? Like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not to like probably come at a particular community as such or whatever. But auto drivers genuinely got to behave on the roads lately, at least for Bangalore. I'm not gonna lie. The overtakes that I've been seeing within traffics and whatever, it's beyond what bikers try to
See,
do.
here's what happened in India, okay, at least from my experience. First, the roads were bad. The driving rules and regulations are anyways bad. Okay. Now the roads are slightly getting better, way better. There are expressways, highways, better ones, cleaner ones with all signals and all that. But because there are nicer roads, people think it's good to rev, good to go in like really high speed. So that's another problem that's coming right now. And because they want to do that, because they want to show off on those like big, huge roads, the accidents happen because they have like no control over it. And that's the reason like any of us like after all the experience hesitate to like drive with that kind of speed and all of it. Even though we enjoy it, but I don't know.
Fair enough. The incident that comes to my mind very first time I think of something like this was, of course, I was involved in it. Right? Of course, totally unintentional, guys.
Of course you were.
I'm a great driver. Okay, I'm an amazing driver.
Any bad experience which happens on this podcast, Vedant is involved in it.
Guys, I've had 0 car accidents. I've like till today, at least the ones I was driving so far. Okay, like 0. I've had a great record. I'm a great driver. So to all the beautiful women watching it, if you want to be a passenger prince, I'm just saying, okay, I would be a safe driver. I would be a gentleman. But again, this one time I remember, in one night I ended up puncturing 2 tires.
Okay.
Of 2 different cars.
And how was that?
It was see, I learned my lesson. Okay, like again, part of the reason why I make this podcast is so that people of our age group can resonate to us, right, and not do stupid shit, right? And this age is pretty fucked up, and I've done fucked up shit as well, right, which includes driving intoxicated at one point. This was quite some time back, it's been 3-4 years, and I remember this night I did have a few drinks or whatever. The place wasn't too far away from my house, so I thought I could drive it. It would have been easier if I had a driver, use those driving apps, or just taken an auto back home. But I chose to drive back home or whatever. So I drove one of my friend's car over to the gate. From the gate, I had to take my car and go back home.
Okay.
So I was driving, those of you who are in East Bangalore, Kartik Nagar, I was driving down that lane. And it was night time. That lane, exactly. The one that just connects to Nekundi, guys. I was just going down that lane, and there's a difference between driving fast and driving rash, right? So I was driving fast, I wasn't rash. It was decent 70-80 speed for that road. I think it's decent.
Yeah, decent 70.
It's decent for that road. Okay, it's not that bad. So we're going down that road, and I didn't see there was a cone. Okay, I thought it was a cone that you can run over. Nothing would happen to your car. It's night time. You can't really see it. Turns out it's one of those construction cones or something, and the car just rammed over it. And my stupid drunk ass was still thinking that the car's still driving, but I can hear some noise. My friend sitting next to me like, bro, I'm pretty sure your car does not seem fine. I'm like, it's moving, it seems pretty fine, let's keep driving. We reached the top of the flyover of Dodanekundi, and by that time we stopped the car. We had to check, it was down bad. And the car's messed up. I don't know how we even drove it back to the gate of my place, but we drove it back, and I said goodbye to my friend. I'll send it to the garage or whatever tomorrow. I took the other car. After that, I'm a little blacked out from what happened. But I reach home. In the morning, I wake up, the other car's punctured as well. I don't know how. I don't remember. And yeah, well, since that day, I never take my chances with drinking at all whenever I'm driving.
Was this the Mustang?
This is the Mustang. So I have a black accent, guys. And because that's one more story to tell why it sounds like a Mustang. But yeah, we call it Mustang. At least most of my friends do.
See, here's the thing. This is how the problem starts, okay? So I don't know about you guys. So the first time I went for a driving test, my two-wheeler, okay? So I went through one of these agents and whatever because they make the process easier. Okay, basic things. What are you supposed to know on roads? The signals. Green, red, or the crossing signal, whatever it is. That's the basic, fundamental, right? And you have these tests on the computer where you're supposed to click. Which signal is this? Which sign is this? And all of that signboard thing, okay? First of all, that's not even serious. They don't conduct it seriously. The guy just tells you, just click, get out of here. There's no much time. The people waiting outside on the queue. Okay. And then outside when you go, this was a test. I thought I'll do it because I want to try my Access 125. Okay, simplest two-wheeler. They give me a bullet for the first time to drive around the cones and all that. Somehow, I don't know, I managed something and I did. I got my driving license. But the whole point is the entire system is so easy to get a driving license. And in this case, I at least drove something. Many people, they just pay and that they get the deal directly. Bro. And that's why such things happen on roads.
Bro, they failed me because I didn't go through an agent.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Better than everyone, bro.
It's like systematic corruption. If you don't opt for the system, you're not eligible. Only if you do this, you are in.
The thing is, they have to fail a certain number of applicants. So they always fail the ones who come independently, not through a driving agency. That's because they get paid by the agency to like pass these
And even
tests.
all these agents who get paid, like if I would have paid an agent, he'll probably give some cuts to all these instructors as well for them to get the deal.
Sure, yeah.
So this is an entire system because of which you see real life incidents, like brutal incidents like this happen.
Guys, you really got to own up to this. That is not right. Like, just so I need to get a license to drive on road, and you guys are sitting and telling me I have to go through an agent. Like, great job with democracy, guys. Like, whosoever's like looking back.
Like one thing we always complain about in India is that we don't have good roads. And the work is still happening. We're getting better roads. But if this system is not being solved, then I don't know what's the point of having like really good roads.
If this corruption with the basic foundation of it,
Yeah.
like, don't be surprised when a 17-year-old kid goes down to crash a Porsche.
Like I felt sad, but at the same time not surprised. It's tend to happen.
Honestly, tell me how many of you on this table right now are very surprised when you saw that Porsche incident take place?
Not surprised.
Not at all.
Because like probably a lot of parents seeing this like wake their kids up in the morning, telling them that this has happened, be careful when you go out with your friends and all. Honestly, we see this. We get to hear a news like this every other month.
See, I'm
about
100
something being an accident.
I'm 100% sure that there are other 17 and even 16-year-olds who drink and drive. I'm 100% sure of that. It's just that they are just few steps away from committing something really bad. That's why they're not in the headlines. I'm pretty sure they're doing it. They're not getting caught. Or if they're getting caught, they're just paying some bribe to the cop or whoever and getting off. So it's just about getting to the headlines. So it's not surprised at all. I felt sad, but not surprised.
Rishi, are there any stories of yours growing up that, okay, like you did learn this a little late, it did take you time to figure out, but you never really did again, or any of your friend as such, as a matter of fact, when it comes to such cases take place?
I mean, I learned that the first thing to do is like shut your mouth, you messed up, own it, and like just, bro, your parents like didn't deserve this, bro. Like just sort it out on your own, bro. You're grown up, you're doing grown up shit. Sort it out like a grown up. That's what I learned later on in life.
That's the first thing that flashes to your mind about your parents, about your close friends, and all of that. That's the first thing that flashes to your mind whenever an accident happens, serious accident happens.
Like, fine, it's something to worry about. Okay, assume the part, you've gotten over the part, the whole accident's taken place, everything's fine. Everyone's well and safe, the other guy in the other end didn't die, you didn't die. Cars have crashed, probably is money involved and all. But first thing you got to be grateful for is the fact that you guys didn't die over there. Now, nobody died, right? Second off, how do you plan to not get hit by a group of people? Which this kid did, right? He got hit by people or stoppers around.
I don't know if this is controversial. I think he deserved it.
He deserved it, right?
If I was there in that crowd, I would have probably done the same thing.
But again, there might be a lot of people behind this camera. Like, of course, like you're not going to sit here and tell me that nobody's actually tried underage driving. I didn't. Okay, I definitely personally didn't. I started driving after I was 18. But I know for a fact there are kids out there who are driving without helmets, without license right now. So once you guys do get into trouble, don't try to justify yourself. Okay, first thing, own up to it. And the second, I think you own up to it, I don't think people are also going to call you out as much as they're supposed to. Okay, so feel genuinely sorry for what you did. Okay, so I think the second you own up to it, I think people they'll probably like, okay, they'll be like, he's done it unintentionally, he doesn't really need to do it. And there's a way to get out, guys, because people genuinely get pissed. A lot of people's life can be at stakes. Accidents are happening every other second. You think COVID took more lives? I generally think accidents on streets every other year takes way more lives than COVID did.
And here's the thing. Don't think of yourself as Salman Khan or anyone like that. Okay.
Just had to bring it up. I was really planning on calling Being Human as my sponsors next year. But thanks for that.
I mean, okay, he might be a good guy being human. He's very, very human. But then don't try and be Salman Khan on streets. And if you are by any chance,
then make sure you have a big father with a lot of money.
Yeah. Your father or your parents might not be as rich as him. You might not own a house like him. You might not have the money like him. So please don't use your brain as if you're Salman Khan and getting away with it. The man literally appeared on national television and lies every time about it. But yeah, don't try and be that person.
I know, lately I've genuinely made a discipline where I'm like, okay, I'm going out to party. Maybe I might end up having a few or more drinks. But what, I'm going to probably pay like $200 extra on my auto or my cab.
I think you stay over or just pay extra and come back. That's it. That's the simplest thing to do.
Yeah, good luck trying to pay like 2 lakhs of bills every day in the hospital, like if things go otherwise, right? So I think it's a safer option either ways. But coming back to our next agenda, personal like occurrence taking place in your own high school or college situations among your friends, right? So what is that one friend story that you think is pretty big and that you remember? It could be funny, it could be serious, whatever the message that our viewers want to take out of it.
Bro, so this is the first time we tried little off topic. It's not about accidents or anything. It's about drinking in school. Okay, so the first time I ever tried a beer was when I was in 9th, I think. No, I was in 10th or something. Okay,
Damn.
9th or 10th, I don't know, 9th ending or 10th starting or something like that. And this dude gets beer in a water bottle. Okay,
Is that good? Can you do that? Or does it just go bad?
I don't know. Okay, that's fine. He got it. At least keep it with you. That's the first thing to do. So in schools they have this small cupboards kind of a thing outside the classroom where you keep your lunch boxes and water bottles. He's kept his water bottle there. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, so one of our PT teachers, he passes by and he's like, listen, I'm just thirsty. I just took a class, can I drink? We're like, sure, sir. And he drank from which bottle.
And the first
Yeah. Okay, and he drank another sip. He's like, whose bottle is this? And then all of us, of course, got screwed. We went to the Princy, which is my mom, basically. Never mind. And okay, we were all getting screwed. We're just very serious. I'm like, what's going to happen right now? We're going to get suspended or anything. Okay. This guy says, ma'am, it's actually a prasada from somewhere. He actually had the audacity to say that.
How do you make that up? Turn beer into Ganga.
And in that serious situation, we're trying to control laughing or something. We're like, what the fuck? Have you genuinely lost it? So this is the first time ever I tried a beer. That's the first time.
No, bro. I'd rather sit and get into a drunk and drive accident. Like, very honestly. Over my teacher catching me with a beer bottle any day. Rishi, what about you? Do you have any such instances that you'd think of?
None that I was involved in, but in college, my college is in Ahmedabad, so a couple of my friends were drinking and driving late at night. This was like 3 a.m. And the thing with Ahmedabad cops is that they can be either super chill or they can be super hard on you. So
just fingers crossed you get the right one.
so they were driving at 80 or 90 and they saw a cop car, and now they've had licenses on them. And they're like grown people, like 19, 20, they should be having licenses. But so they see a cop patrol, they reverse and they go into a lane and they reverse back onto the highway and they find one more guy and they catch him and then it's like, pay fine, you can't do anything else, and they don't have cash. So they're like, so there was this third dude who was sitting in the back.
Cheap.
No, they were like, we'll keep this guy, you go home and get the cash.
Oh shit.
And this guy's house was in the other part of the city. So he went, 1 hour he took to come. This guy was sitting here peacefully. They got him cigarettes, they got him chai, they got him everything. This guy was chilling till 5 in the morning.
What?
That's better than doing most fucking.
I mean, that's a bargain, right?
Happy ending, bro. Happy ending.
That's a bargain. That's a bargain right there. But let's conclude my story before we can have Rishi take off. He's got some music to do. By the way, those of you who don't know, please follow Rishi over at my Instagram. He's got banger of music coming in this whole year, and he's been helping with a lot of music with Sickma as well, guys. So please do listen to him. He's got some crazy stuff he's been working on. But my final story before Rishi takes off is that there was this moment when I remember that one of my friend had called me. He was super tense. I think you know who this friend is, okay? But he was super tense. Apparently, got into an accident scene. It's not an accident, life-threatening accident, but it's more over that you touched my car while I scene. So these kids are trying to remove their car from a very tight parking space. There's a car in front of them. There's a car behind them.
And
so
they banged onto something.
They banged into the car behind them, right? So they're fighting with the guy or whatever, and at this point they're just frustrated. They're like, okay, let me remove my car, then I'll come and talk to you. When they went to remove the car, they crashed the car in front of them as well. Okay. And the car in front of them, just when I thought the story couldn't get better, is a cop car they crashed into right in front of them.
Crazy.
Right? And I was like, how do you manage to do that? And on the call, I'm genuinely thinking just messing around with me right now. Because you can't just do that in one day, right? Let alone just in the same 5 minutes. So he's told me that. I'm still laughing at him this whole time he's explaining me the story. And he's like, dude, I'm not even shitting you right now. This is legit. This legit happened. I'm like, sure bro, you do you. I cut the call on his face. And the other friend calls in and he's like, bro, he wasn't kidding around. And I'm like, okay, wait, you're being serious right now. I took my bike, my car, whatever. I went to check the place and all. And these people are arguing with him, okay? They're straight up arguing with him. And you shouldn't really be doing that the second you know the cops involved into it. Don't argue. Try to get them to understand at least that it's a genuine mistake. You didn't mean it. Because at this point, the cops are siding with the driver behind him who's crashed. So I go there, and when I'm trying to talk to the cop and trying to help them out, they're explaining the story and even I'm laughing at this point. Like I tried, I'm like, listen, I hope you find this funny. I know it's your car, but if it wasn't, trust me, you'd be laughing right now so hard with me. We'd be getting along so well. But yeah, nevertheless, they had to pay heavy fine, like around 25-30K for both the cars together, and they had to get out. And it's expensive, guys. Drinking and driving, getting caught for that is around 10K on an average now in Bangalore. Accidents, you can only like imagine what it's going to go on to. So avoid it. Like just be careful on road. Just stick to the speed limit. It's okay if you reach half an hour later or 1 hour later. It's not your life that's at stake, right? But anyways, Rishi, thanks for coming on board, accompanying us to this podcast. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Right? It was great seeing you. Rishi. We'll catch up until next time.
Thank you, bro.
Chal, take care. See you guys.
Rishi Ray, people.
Okay, here we are. Rishi just went. What the fuck are you doing here?
Just came out, brother.
He became emotional after listening to the entire driving and RTO story, I think.
No, not emotional as such, okay.
It was like Anurag was drooling behind the camera.
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro, I have to get you in for this
he's
topic.
jumping
You
behind
can't
the
really
camera,
have something to
literally.
say.
I'm like, okay, just come here, sure. Go ahead.
So wait, what are your concerns, Anurag? What is it that you want to say so bad?
As Vidit mentioned previously, the whole corrupt RTO system,
Oh, yeah.
which I experienced that firsthand, bro. Like, this is like the worst form of corruption I've ever experienced in my life. Like, okay, so right, I've turned 18. I think around 6 months into turning 18. I had an LL and all. Then I went to give the DL test. Okay. Now this is because I didn't go through any of these agents or whatever. Okay. So then I went to the test. Okay. First of all, I taken my Innova and gone, which was like mistake number 1. Because
Which is also a Sickma mobile, guys.
Okay. Yeah, and at that time, the thing is, my Innova had a carrier on top. Okay, so like whichever guy was there, first he made an issue of that and all. He's like, oh, I'll seize your vehicle here, right here, right now, and all that. And then what happened was this thing. My scooter also was there. Like I think my dad had come along with me, so like even my scooter also was there. And then so I gave the scooter test and all, and then that I had passed. Okay, and then like I gave the car test. So for the car test, they sent me on this like really small track where like my Innova barely fit on that track. Okay, so then like that day I realized, okay, this is what happens when you honestly, genuinely come to the driving test. Okay, they put me on a small track. Yeah, my Innova couldn't fit there, so they just kind of failed me by default. Went back. Okay, I thought, okay, I was sad that I failed the car test. But on the other hand, I was like, okay, fine, at least I'll get my scooter thing because I had clearly passed the scooter test. Okay. Turns out, these people, because the DL number is the same for both of them, they have just flunked me in both. And for college, like for going to college and all, I use my scooter more anyway. I don't use the car to go to college and all. So like, the more important DL, the scooter DL also I didn't get. Okay, and then I was just like, what's the solution for this? Okay, I thought, okay, fine, maybe like 1 week later we can just come back and give a retest or whatever. This time I'll probably borrow a smaller car from a friend or something like that and come and give the test. They're like, no, you can't. For 6 months, you'll not be allowed to.
6 months?
Yeah, 6 months they basically banned me from giving a driving test.
What the
Okay. So then that happened. I was like, okay, fine, there's no other solution left. Rang up one of my friends and then like I got in touch
Got an agent.
Yeah, I got an agent.
Agent.
Yeah, agent, okay. And bro, agent was so simple, bro. Like they made me sit in the car and then
Down.
Yeah, just go straight, take U-turn, come back. That's all. They didn't even check if I wore seatbelt or not, bro. I wore the seatbelt. This whoever was sitting with me was like, yeah, come put the seatbelt, bro. I was like, isn't it required? Like
So the real meaning behind all of this is if you don't go through the systematic corruption, you will be debarred.
Yeah,
if you do it, you'll get it very, very easily.
The RTOs of Karnataka, this is like disgraceful behavior, and it's been happening from decades, bro. Like this happened with me now. This happened with my dad also 30 years ago. Okay, so like
so you can imagine how deep.
Yeah, it's
become
not
a system. Literally.
It's not some small problem that's been happening from the last few years. It's been happening from decades, bro. From like the 80s or something, it's been happening.
Comment down below, guys, if this has ever happened to you in such regards, and do we really need to like put this out in terms of actually changing this whole system, because it doesn't really make sense. Even I went through an agency. I remember back when I got my license.
You have to. You don't have any option. What will you do?
No, and I'll tell you to rub salt in the wounds. Okay, there's many of these people in my class. Okay, so like half these people in my class. Okay, so basically, bro, they don't know how to drive at all. And then those guys are sitting with DLs, they're like, oh, I got my DL. And others like, bro, I know to drive. Like, bro, you people don't even know how to like put the car into like, I don't know, for gear or something like that. Okay, and you people are like seeing DLs over there.
Bro, I don't know who said this. I think Nitin Gadkari said this. He's the transport minister, India. He said this, that the number of people who died from COVID are way lesser than the number of people who have died through accidents in India.
And
Just
honestly,
imagine the number.
I'll tell you a very honest story. I haven't really said this to much people till today. But me and my two other friends, we went through an agency, the whole driving class thing for 10 classes. And then you're supposed to get your RTO ka thing, get your license and all that, okay, test and all. So I had a teacher, okay, like I'm not going to tell his name or whatever, but he was my instructor or whatever. And after around 9 days of training, he went asking my other two friends for Guru Dakshina. Okay. Irrespective of the money he already got, right? Now, me being me, I was like, bro, I'm not giving you Guru Dakshina for shit, okay? But if you want, I'll buy you a beer by end of all of this. Like, let's just call it even. And he was like, yeah, sure, okay. But again, the day I went to my RTO exam, I remember the cones are so wide apart, they're at least 30 feet apart. And I just did a reverse and park in that cone. Me and my friends were just standing aside there because I'm like, I looked at this test, I'm like, is that really all I have to do? Like, I'm gonna kill this, okay? Like, I'm getting to my license today. But a lady still managed to hit a cone there while I was there. Even like she still managed to hit a cone in reverse. It was kind of funny. Me and my friends started laughing. The instructor of mine, the other guy, like, oh, why are you laughing, ma? Why are you laughing and all that stuff. But turns out we kind of got it done. I have my other friend, his dad kind of owns the area and stuff. He owns the RTO technically. So in 2 seconds I was cutting through lines, getting my RTO stuff done. Till a certain extent, I did use my influence, of course. But again, whatever gets the job done, right? And a lot of like common people taking it through independent stuff is just getting like disregarded here.
Bro, it's impossible if you're going independently, honestly. It's impossible. I wouldn't even say, I don't think a single person's actually like passed going through that independent thing, whatever.
And you just get your whole license thing banned for 6 months. You can't even be eligible to give it.
That's what like, and this, okay, fine, you like ban it for like a week or two, or okay, max a month. That's like still okay. Half a year, bro.
By the way, the story I told you right now, the lady I checked around, she paid her way to getting a license later. I found out that. I found that out.
You have to.
After hitting a cone, Anurag didn't even hit a cone with a bigger car over there. I'm just saying, guys. Okay? Like, it's not right.
Yeah, no, and yeah, even that girl who I was telling before we started recording. So yeah, this is another story, guys. So this is the second time when I went to the agent and all. So I had my scooter there as well for the scooter test because I had to give it again. So what happened there was this other girl over there. So she didn't have a scooter on her or whatever. So they decided to give her my scooter for like her DL test. Okay. And basically what happens is she sits on it, like wears helmet, everything, all that. Starts my scooter up. Gives a bit of accelerator. Sends it straight into a bush.
And this was your scooter?
Yeah, this was my scooter. Okay. Then the RTO guy comes up to me and then he's like, "This scooter alli tumpa power ide." And then I was like, bro. So for context, I don't ride Hayabusa or something. Okay, I have a TVS Ntorq 125. That's the first gen. It's not even the more powerful model.
It's a Sickma crew, guys. The simple people. The simple people.
So these instructors are corrupt as well as turkeys. They blindly take sides.
Yeah.
But comment down below, guys, if any of these instances have happened to you. If you guys have an RTO story to put out. Meanwhile, Anurag, it was great having you on.
Also, one more closing statement. If you want to prevent road accidents, start from here. Like, give proper people licenses, bro. I feel too many people who don't know to drive have licenses.
Like, honestly, half the problem in Bangalore with the traffic can be solved if people just stick to their goddamn lanes.
Oh, also with it, please learn to drive a car.
Yeah, guys, Vidit hasn't got his license yet, so comment down.
Yeah, guys, Vidit has...
I'm the passenger king.
El Gabby,
I'm the passenger princess, I'm the passenger king.
Vidit doesn't know how to drive a car yet, okay? And like, every time it's like either Hrisheek or me, one of us, we have to drive him around. It's like so annoying, okay? We have to go till RR Nagar, pick this guy up and all that.
All the girls who know how to drive, just you can pick me up.
And all the people who know how to drive, comment El Gabby down in the comments, guys. But we were Anurag, it was great having you here. And this is a great...
You learn to drive.
Okay, so
on to our next speaker.
So, Vedant, for our next speaker here, he is the one and only heavy driver of our group. The man who's had accidents from smaller ones to the worst ones, and he's always had a lesson out of it. And every time we sit over to chat, we always go back and always remember about Hrisheek's accident. It's like it's like a must kind of thing to recall his stories and discuss about them. So please welcome the one and only Mr. Hrisheek
Namaskaram.
Gowda.
And only. Yes. How can I enlighten you guys today?
So he's been coming to all our podcasts. He's been sitting behind the camera.
Yeah, this is first time.
This is the first time.
The front. Yeah.
He was mentioned in one of our reels,
Hrisheek is
praising Ambani.
Which I really didn't want to do. I was forced, guys.
So
The one unpaid actor
By
behind
the
the camera is
way,
the
since
setup.
I'm here, I'm really sorry I didn't mean what I said. There's a joke.
He loves Ambani, guys. Please invite us to your weddings.
Definitely.
Whenever. We'll cover content.
बस का डिक्की में मैं आ जाऊंगा खाली वो बस में थोड़ा जगह दे
okay, without wasting any more time, okay, I want to get straight to the question. Hrisheek,
yes bro
we remember during the lockdown,
Yes.
we used to go to Biddi, Shashi, Tatte Idli.
yes
In our scooters. We didn't even use cars that time. At least we have Anurag's car now. Okay, we used to go in our scooters, and this is how his story of Tatte. I'll get to what Tatte means. Not Tatte Idli, but the other context. And this is how his story of multiple accidents began from there. So please go ahead.
okay so it's a journey of Saturday. See, the thing is, it is COVID. Everyone were traveling. It is a small fetish for us to go around Biddi. Shashi Tatte is pretty famous now. Again, we are doing no promotion for him. So the thing was, I'll be frank, I love going fast. It's an adrenaline for me. So before I tell whatever I tell now, I'll give a small suggestion. Whatever you're doing, do it. You enjoy speed, yeah, that's good. But please do it when you're alone. Please not at the cost of another person with you. I never drive carelessly when I have another person with me. I promise you that. I've never caused anyone to get injured because of me. That's the thing. And yeah, coming to Tatte, so the thing was we went to Tatte, we went to Biddi, we had Tatte, everything. So we had few people who were eating next to us there. Everything went well, we had fun, we clicked pictures, friends, we were coming back. And it's in the same highway there. While coming back, somewhere near the Mysore road, we just stopped. I was belting. I was alone on my act. I was belting so fast. I came and just stopped aside, waiting for my friends because I already overtook all of them. When I was waiting, suddenly a small Kia Seltos comes, parks right in front of me. He gets out of the car and says just one thing. And Magne tatte aabuditya. I was wondering who is this guy? Why is he telling me?
This is random, by the way. We don't know him. Huh?
Three,
Random.
4 people are there with me. And they come, they search like this in the crowd, they come to me, they move everyone. I said like, Magne tatte idli tinnal bandiya, tatte aabuditya. I was wondering why, what happened. And the funniest part is even he's smiling when he's telling me this. Even he didn't know what to tell. He was smiling.
So just for context, okay. So a bunch of I think around 7 to 8 boys going in 3 to 4 scooters, okay.
All right.
And I think Rishi, you were driving alone.
Yeah. So
Okay, and I was sitting, I was sitting probably behind one of our friends, okay. And so I'm sitting there going straight, okay. And so if this is me going in the scooter sitting behind, Hrisheek is here and he just goes like this. Okay, the next I come here again, he goes from here. So he's like just doing zigzag all the time. Okay, and suddenly this car, a bunch of 3 boys, they're just honking. They're a little later to us. They're just honking, and all of us stopped and they're like, "Kaun ye lo, kariye hum." Okay, and then he says all of this. And what did you reply to him? What did you respond to him? He can't respond
he
to
was
him.
smiling. The first thing I told was, I'm like, but only thing was I was surprised because I felt I was going slow. I'm like, Nana. Like Nina. I'm like Nana. Like Nina. They did this. As soon as they smiled, thank God they just smiled. So things went lighter.
Okay, cooler.
So they
Better than
smiled
it should.
and they just gave me that warning and they just left. That's basically the boys things. A boy to
Even
boy.
they knew.
They knew.
They knew.
I'm sure they would have done the same shit at my age. So it was fine, and that's where I got my Tatte title, not Tatte title. So there on, it's gone. I've seen a lot. I've learned my lesson actually today. I will tell you where I learned my lesson. So I'll tell you. The thing is, actually, this happened like a year and a half back. I was brutally faced an accident actually, where I actually almost lost my little finger. I almost lost this. This was hanging. The bone was popped out. It was hanging.
Shit.
I almost had a shattered shoulder, and my back had gone. And this happened in one of my close friends' bike. I had a huge fetish for bike. Only thing was my parents didn't.
And this was near your college.
Yeah, right from my college. It happened on a very special occasion for me because I was excited because this was my first job that I got as a teenager. I was fine. I was chilling at home. I got a call from my office saying, Rishi, you've been appointed. Today you're getting your job. Why don't you come and talk to us in the office? We can start your work today and so and so. Or collect your offer letter. I was excited. So for me, normal is 80. That is normal. I'm not telling you guys to do that. For me, that is normal. So that day I was going much faster.
The speed 80-90, not the
speed. Yeah, not this water saved here. Not that.
That's complimentary. If you definitely want to do that day, don't do that, guys.
I never drink and drive, guys. I never drank. I mean, I have drank. I've never drunk and drive. So that's one thing. So I was heading back to Tata Ace. I guess that is my fate. The thing is, I have a huge fetish, or I have a belief that I pray to God. Every temple I see, I just pray to. So this happened right from the temple. I just prayed to God and turned front. I see a Tata Ace right in front of me. And it's slow, I was not fast. So this is where I learned a lesson where it says you don't have to be fast to meet an accident. If your time is bad, or if you're not, or if you're at the right, or if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time,
it will happen.
I was slow, and the Tata Ace just whacked into me, and it was actually a hit and run case. He just whooped and he went. I met with Sivira.
So he didn't stop, he just went.
He didn't stop.
You could just go show to the camera right there. It would be super cool.
So guys, you can see all.
Look, guys, those of you who are speeding next time.
Here. All of this was hanging. The bones had popped out here. You see these marks here. Have a mark here. Everything started. Luckily, nothing had happened to my legs. That's good. Yeah, that's a strong thing. So that bike was my friend's, by the way. The bike was gone. I paid a huge amount for that again. And that happened, but
this was okay. I know which bike this is. I know whose bike this was.
I'm sorry,
I know whose bike this was.
And by the way, this bike, I could have actually registered a case on this. The only reason I didn't do it, the bike was Haryana.
Oh.
So it's not technically his bike.
Yes,
and
someone
also, I
else.
didn't have a license yet.
Oh,
so if I registered, the case will come back to me. So I blame myself. I don't blame the driver again. I'm just blaming the bad timing that I was facing. But one more thing, guys, I learned from that was my entire life flashing from my eyes. Because as soon as I went on my first medication, the first thing the doctor told was there's 50-50 chances of you surviving it without facing any proper damage. Because apparently I could have been.
And how long were you
wheelchaired for my life.
hospitalized? How long were you hospitalized?
I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks. For a week. Not hospitalized. I was going to the hospital to get myself cleaned and dressing done. But I was bedridden for almost a month and a half. Like proper bedridden. Because till month and a half, if I breathed, I could feel the pain in my back. Because there was a lot of contraction in the muscle that I used to feel the pain. But that's not the thing, guys. It's not about the pain actually. I am a son of a single parent. I lost my dad 10 years back. So obviously it's a huge response from my mom also. And when my life flashed, the first thing I felt was this. I definitely didn't feel it was worth it when I fell. I enjoyed the speed, but not till I fell. So guys, please, when you're driving fast, just think about what you've left back and whom you've told and left home. So you need to be responsible sometimes, even if you have two parents, not necessarily that you have to lose a parent to find the value out.
And one of the best thing I loved about Hrisheek when he started the conversation, he told me that I never drive fast when I've got another passenger with me
he never does.
in a vehicle. Which intends, by the way, which I've lately been doing myself as well, is that when I'm driving with someone, the other person's my responsibility in the car. Right, it is my responsibility to make sure I get
and a little bit of outsider perspective. So when he crashed, we got to know. I think that it happened in the afternoon time, right?
Exactly.
So we got to know around evening or something. Like they took him to the hospital.
Happened around 12 or something.
So we got to know about it in the evening, okay? And this is the same time when we were planning a trip to Pondicherry, okay? It happened. That's one more thing I'll tell you, okay?
Small add-on. He's just bragging that he gave a fuck. He didn't. He kept making. He even till date keeps making fun of me for not coming to a trip, and he doesn't give two shits about me for it.
No, nothing like that. So I got to know in the evening, and then
confrontations on Sickma's podcast.
And the next day, me and Dhanush were there. We went somewhere out to meet one of. He was working that time. It was in his first job.
One of the girls, not some job. He went to meet.
No, it was in his first job. The first internship he got.
I'll add something here. You tell.
Okay.
Add-on actually.
So anyways, he picked. So we met and he picked me up also, and we went on his bike to the place his clinic was done, and I could see like he's getting his dressing done. His entire both the hands. I still have a photo of it. I'm not going to put it out because I don't want to. It's like very brutal. Like he has dressing all over, and his cousin sister was there and all over that. I was like, shit, that's actually serious. Because as I told you earlier, even I have fell before. He's fallen before that also. With me. Okay. So, but nothing major happened. We were lucky enough. But this time it was actually really brutal. And then we were like, shit, that's actually serious. So it's not a joke. Seriously, it's
so
not.
Rishi, you listen to all these accidents happening of 17-year-old kids with Porsche and all that. And you've seen it all, right?
Definitely.
And honestly, till a certain extent, does the kid deserve juvenile? I'll be very honest with my regards. The kid was stupid enough to do that, right? But does he really deserve something that hard? No, because I think a lot of kids do this, and it's just a matter of time until they learn their mistakes. A lot of kids go out for bike rides. A lot of kids get into accidents every day. Okay, we've been some of them at some point in our life, right? So as much as we really want to hate on these kids, but then we got to realize we were them at one point. So what does all this bring to your mind when you hear these stories come up?
See, I'll tell. See what, since you told, does he really deserve that? Do these youngsters deserve that? My point is, since I have faced something like closer to them, I have not faced anything major, but at least I've flashed. My life is flashed, so I feel that it's too good. So I feel it's not about what you deserve. I feel your parents don't deserve that. They don't deserve to see you like that, bedridden. Or definitely your parents don't expect you to see like that. I don't expect myself to see dead in front of my mom, because I know what might be going through her mind. So it's not about what you deserve. When you're doing such stupid shit, you need to think, what do they really deserve that? Your parents. It's not about what you deserve.
And just think of the entire Pune incident also, right? He has done whatever he had to do. He's gone drunk, he's driven it, he crashed, he's killed 2 people literally. And he's son of literally a billionaire, right? So all the money his dad would have made working hard, earning a reputation, having some respect, it's gone. I mean, he's literally arrested. I don't know why he's arrested still. I mean, of course, he's trying to save his son, but all the hard work that he's gone down the trash now. All his reputation is gone. So just think about that, at least if not yourself. That's what I would want to say.
Fair enough. And before we conclude this last podcast, Hrisheek, your final message to all our viewers out here, all the young
No,
viewers.
before we conclude, I have a story to tell on a lighter note. So here's the thing with Rishi Kapil. This is just on a lighter note.
Just a light heart, guys. Good news story. At Sickma, shit got way too real here.
So the thing is, when we got close, like 5 of us, like during the lockdown, that's when we started going out to trips, right? We started with Chikmagalur. That time Hrisheek was the one to get COVID. We are like, shit, what are you going to do?
By the way, I was the one who used to provoke and make plans genuinely.
Okay, and he got COVID. Of course, not as a mistake, you can't help it. And he's like, okay, you guys carry on. Then we went for 1 night or 2 nights, something like that, to Chikmagalur. This was first trip in lockdown. Okay.
Don't tell what I did. COVID.
Yeah, I don't want to tell that. You don't need to tell that. Okay, so he was in his house. He couldn't come. Next year, when this accident which he described, we were planning Pondicherry trip. Again, he didn't come. He's like, you guys come now. Of course, I can't.
Panoti. Sala Panoti.
Okay.
Some shit you start.
Okay, so now every time we go to a trip, it's a rule, mandatory, that he has to quarantine himself 2 weeks before the trip.
1 or 2 weeks.
And that's why you didn't show up to any of my shoots before you guys were at Goa, back in your
Goa and even Kasol the year.
Yeah,
No wonder I didn't see him at my shoots for
I'll
2
tell you
weeks
one
before
thing,
that.
I don't know about Goa, but I genuinely did that. I followed that when I was going to Kasol.
Kasol, yeah. This was last year.
I was home quarantined for 2 weeks. It stuck to my mind so firmly that I really believed that was actually
You
a
had
thing.
to break the curse.
Yeah, I really felt like there's a thing that every time I go to go out, hang out with these guys, something happens. I should call him a Panoti.
I'm not a Panoti if you.
He's the black sheep, guys, in the gang. You know.
Not him.
L with
I
it,
mean,
guys,
dope
in comment
guys.
section.
You know the dope guys. I meant the dope guys. The dope guys.
Yeah, we just do fuck culture all the time.
I just wanted to add one small minor accent I had with one Namuna of our can. Actually, the shit.
We don't get through a podcast without speaking about it so far.
This is where I actually see accents can prove that you have true friendship, and who actually accents can genuinely prove who is your true friend and who is not. I guess for instance, I don't know about who is not my true friend, but I'll tell you how I got to know he's my true friend. Danush and we had a lafda which happened in college regarding some girl. So Danush, it was about me and a girl. It's not even about him. But he really cared about me so much that he got pissed when that girl messed things between me and her, and he was more triggered than I was. So the thing was, I came with him in his bike. It was a Royal Enfield Bullet. We were heading back home. He was still pissed. He was bitching. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's fine, calm down. He's not, fuck him, calming me. He's not calming down. He's pissed. I was happy that this guy genuinely giving a fuck. I was happy. I felt sad. I'm like, see, Dhanush is giving a fuck about me so much that I'm not giving 2 shits about him. Then later, what happened while going, Dhanush just rams into a scooty pepper woman. We both fall. The thing was, it's not that Dhanush is a rash driver. He drives decent. The thing was, he was so out of focus that day. He was not in his sense of mind because he was so involved in what happened to me, and his mind was not well. I met a proper accident. We fell nicely. His back was gone, his bike rod was gone.
And let me guess, you guys were laughing it off 20 minutes after getting out of the
That's
city.
exactly what we did. Later, we hopped back in the bike. I drove the bike this time. I dropped Dhanush back at his house. I took my vehicle from there and I cut home. But thing was, these are the small things that it shows that this is what I generally felt like Dhanush literally does care. This happens. This is what, and
It's a frustration that probably got the worst out of that accident to even happen. So it's also one more
we get
lesson.
the best of our friends out of the random things.
One more lesson.
I told you about
out of this.
remember I told you about the chick who was telling me to stay away from Dhanush.
Yeah, I remember.
That's how I
we
came
spoke about
to
it last
Dhanush.
podcast. But no, the other lesson we can actually take from this is also the fact that when accidents tend to actually happen on road, right? It doesn't necessarily always have to mean it's probably an underage guy, you're drunk, or you're not in your senses. But it can also be a point where a person is actually frustrated for other reasons. So if nobody's dead, if nothing's happened, okay. So like this last point, let me just say it. If nothing happens, right, just make sure that if you and the other guy who are safe in the middle of all of this, try sorting the beef out. Because you should be glad to the fact that none of you are dead.
Yeah.
The bike must be shattered to pieces. The car must be shattered to pieces. You might not get it.
You can pay money, your parents will arrange, or something will happen.
We'll
You find
figure it
something.
out. Just be glad for the fact that
Yeah.
none of you died and sort it out peacefully and just get the fuck out
I
of
have a
there.
last question for both of you. See, what we have faced as kids and how our parents have, how we have grown up is different, and how the current generation is growing up is different. We are the current
100%.
generation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the more youngsters.
100%.
See, I hear my own sisters and my Jidus telling that I want my kid to experience everything which I couldn't afford or not see in life. That means everything. So this blank mistake all these young generation parents are doing is exactly what we are talking about. For example, they might be like, my dad didn't get me this and this bike, which I wished at this age, and I want my kid to enjoy that. It's not about your kid getting everything you didn't get. If you just once think, why didn't you get it at that point of time? You are who you are because you didn't get it at that point of time. So it's not about what you can give your kid, what you didn't have. It's better if you just give him what you already have. It's better to grow up with something you already have than trying to teach new things.
I'm glad my dad slapped the fuck out of me when I was 10 when I asked him to teach me how to drive. Like, that did so well for me because I feel I'm more mature right now. I understand the road better. I understand if I get into scene, how to get out of it better.
See, I'm not laughing at you. I just had a small thing. By the way, I learned how to drive cars using PS5. I never learned car by any teaching anything. I learned how to drive cars using a PS5 and
Like a legit car.
legit car, not car. A PS5 steering, all that,
Okay,
and phone games. Trust me, I'm being honest. It might sound stupid, but I genuinely learned how to drive cars using simulators. I'm happy that I've been telling people to try that. People find it very.
I have to put this story before we conclude though. I think Anurag behind the camera is going to love this story. But I took like 20 classes of driving before I did a whole RTO cutting, those classes, everything I took. I didn't really learn how to drive even after those classes. Very honestly, I didn't learn how to drive after those classes. I had an uncle of mine who told me, listen Vedant, you can take these classes, these stupid classes and all that. You can learn how to drive. They'll teach you some stupid shit and all that. And in classes what happens is the instructor sitting next to you will have his own brakes, accelerator and clutch in on his side of the car. Okay, that's what happens if you guys go to driving classes. Right? If you end up going, okay, and or if you want to be barred for 6 months like Anurag told, you can do that.
But if you don't want to learn driving like me,
Or yeah, you can just be like with it. You can just be a passenger princess, like he is to me, Anurag and Hrisheek. But bottom line, what has happened is my uncles told me that listen, you will really learn how to drive the day you take the car and you just randomly fuck off. Just take the car and go. That is the day you actually learn how to drive a car. Right? So I did this thing. I took the car to college. That was the first time I got the car to college. My black Mustang.
shit, that is 20 kilometers, okay?
Yeah, that was 15-20 kilometers, right?
It's too much for fucking off alone, okay?
8 kilometers from my house. My parents were not home that day. I found my chance. I took the car and went. I just took it and went off. And my mom called me midway 8 kilometers in. I answered the call, it's on speaker. And I'm like, Mom, listen, don't be pissed at me. She's like, why? What are you doing now? What the hell are you doing? I'm like, I took the car and I'm going to college. She's like abusing me on the call. If you die, if you hit this car, if you hit that truck, something and all, she started off. I mean, listen, I can't be talking to you when I'm driving. I cut the call. Turns out, I don't know how, but I did get back home safe that day with the car.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
So I think that was.
But here's my take on what you asked about giving freedom and all. Like, I'm all for giving freedom, bro. Like, probably 10 years later when our kids will be watching this episode, I want them to see this, that we'll give you all the freedom, all the comfort possible. But first of all, not this kind of freedom where you can do whatever the fuck you want without any rules or regulations in your head. Like, I wouldn't do that for myself. Why would I give you that? That's the first thing. Like, whatever restrictions that we have had on ourselves, it's probably paying off in some way. Like, we're safe because of that right now. After all these accidents, after him getting that accident car title and all of that, he's safe because of those restrictions. And I think that's important, just to be in that limit. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want. Except that.
It's fair enough, and I think you'll only learn, you'll get wiser, you'll get better. Like at 16, I really thought I knew everything. Very honestly, I did. Okay, at 18, I still thought I knew everything. At 22, I still thought I knew everything. But then I look back on my mistakes and be like, no, I think I'm wiser now. And if I could have done things a little later, some things in my life, I think it would have done me better. But nevertheless, I think we're having fun here at Sickma Studios so far. And we just want all our viewers to be safe over here, safe and sound. Just avoid taking that extra bit of speed that you want to. Avoid taking that dirty road. Avoid taking the car out where it's not necessary. Don't drink if you really have to go out and actually get your family or any of your friends back home, because that is not the kind of issues we preach here at Sickma Studios. That's not.
And also a message for all the RTO institutions and all the courts in India. You genuinely got to fuck yourself. And then also change yourself. Like, please, genuinely.
Yeah, you're not getting a driving license, by the way. At least in this life. Just telling you.
Just a thing. Last one, I'm sorry to take it too much. I want you guys to give an output to these people, especially whom I want to tell now. If you've observed, the most accidents have happened to more middle class people than to the people who are the higher class.
It has happened, it's just that people don't know it. Because how many of billionaire fathers would have actually ratted the kids out already?
The thing is, I agree to what you said. But out of 100, I feel 70% of the kids who are meeting accidents are all middle class aged kids or students. The reason being, I can again tell you what I just told, too much restrictions. When you're putting too much restriction, that's when kids try to repel back.
That's also there.
Obviously, high class, I don't know how high class people treat, but obviously the restrictions are not there, that's fine. When you already don't have restrictions, you don't have to fight for anything. You already have it. But I feel I feel I'm going against what I just said. But I know we don't know it yet because we've not seen that high class mentality. But I want to know how do you think how does that take? Like how, I'm telling you, don't give freedom and yet they do it. I don't understand the statistics of why middle class people are facing this more than higher.
I think middle class parents play a pretty big role in it. They don't know how much controlling is too much controlling.
Yeah, middle class and the kids and all, they want to try new stuff. That's the first thing. They want to try out things that they haven't done. It can be driving, it can be girls, it can be drinking or anything in that matter, right? They just want to try stuff which they have been restricted for. It's like basic human nature at that point of age, as he said, doing the rebel thing. But because they have restrictions, they'll always think back at least about the consequences. In the case of higher class or where there are no restrictions, they won't even think that much. That's the difference.
And from my point of view, again, it's almost around what Vidit said. And when it comes to middle class, I don't think they understand how much controlling is too much controlling, right? It's either two ways. You're either letting your kid completely free or you're disciplining him way too much. There is no in between, right? Because when you put things in between, the kid has that bit of freedom to experiment things out. Like, I can take the car, okay, maybe I might get an accident, maybe I might not get belted by my parents. I'll take the chance. Right? If your kid is well disciplined, which my kid is not going to get a car until he gets his own, until his very first thing. Of course, I'm going to teach him. I think that's every father's dream to do that once in life. Like, I learned how to drive a car through my dad and all that. And those were some of my best memories and all. So, if it comes to me, ever a day comes like that, I think I'd love to teach my kid how to drive. But I'll tell him to wait for a certain age. I won't have the privilege. I'll tell him I'm straight up. I'm disappointed if you learn to anyone else. Very honestly. I think that's probably the right way people should work out. And that's why parents do play a big role equally, even when kids get into such accidents.
And also all of you should drop in comments as to how the driving system can be improved in India through the RTOs or the courts. And also to the courts, I just want to mention that there are people, like cases pending like hundreds of years, literally hundreds of years. And then you're here giving bail to a certain individual just because he's son of a billionaire within 15 hours. Can you imagine that? So just look upon himself, and that's it from my side.
And please comment if you want to join us for Biddi 38. We're on game on.
You know where to find us every Sunday, guys. We'll see you there. Until then, subscribe to Sickma's channel, like, share, subscribe, and do hit the bell icon as well while you're at it. It's been your boy Sickma. We have with us Gabby at the house of Sickma Studios, Hrisheek, the man, and behind the camera we have Rishi Ray and the man himself, Anurag. AKA Sonteke. AKA Sonteke, guys. It's been your boy Sickma. Have a good day, guys. Until next episode.
Bye, guys.